Today we're going to talk about the synchronicities of healing. It's kind of like the magic in healing, the divine nudges, the chance meetings, those kinds of things. And what sparked this topic for me was a friend who had a recent experience, who she wasn't going to meet somebody, and then something inside of her kept pushing her to meet up with that person. And then once she met up with that person, he had a heart attack, and they were in a situation that there was a ER nurse, a trauma nurse there, and she helped revive him until the EMTs got there, and he ended up surviving. But the way it all played out was so surreal to her because she wasn't going to go, and something inside of her pushed her to go. So she got those divine little nudges that made her realize she needed to be there. And for whatever reason he came, and for whatever reason that nurse came, and it was just all ripe and ready to go, and he survived it. And I've heard this story over and over again, and it's really important to talk about because my work with Awakened Wellness and Body Within Healing, all it has to do with fostering that piece of intuition inside of yourself that helps you to be present when those nudges are happening. You know, I had another experience with a client, which is a really cool story. He was in a road race, and he was running, and he fell and had a heart attack. And he got revived. And he was really struggling after, and he had a lot of anxiety and everything else. So he ended up in the ER one day with a panic attack. And as he was in the ER with the panic attack, the nurse came in and said to him, "You don't remember me, but I was there when you fell and you had your heart attack." And he's just looking at her. She goes, "I want to tell you this story." She said, "I was running with my granddaughter who was 9. And she told me, she said, 'Grammy, we have to stay close. He's going to fall like Papa did.'" And she said, "I didn't know what to make of it, so I stayed with her, and we stayed right behind you, and sure enough, you fell and you had a heart attack right in front of us. And I wanted you to know that the universe or God is looking out for you, and that we were grateful that we were there, and we're grateful that you survived." And he was so overwhelmed and shook up by that because he was like, "Why me? I'm not that special," and so on and so forth. And it has nothing to do with that. We're all loved, we're all part of the universe, and we all have synchronicities happening around us. The reason why we don't all experience them is because we're not aware in how to be present in them. So it all has to do with those little divine nudges that we're not hearing. So the more we can become present in ourselves and really listen to that inner voice, we'll hear those nudges and we'll be where we're supposed to be at the right times with the right people. The unfortunate part about synchronicities is not just your nudge. As you can see, there were other people that were nudged too, and if they're not awakened and they're not listening, only part of the synchronicity is playing out. So it's all these different things that happen, and if everybody's in alignment, it all works. If people are not in alignment, only part of it works. So there is no one thing that should or shouldn't happen. It's just where people are at, and when the alignment's there, the alignment's there, and when it's not, it's not. You know, for me, I've had it save me many times. Like, that's how I even met my husband. You know, I was 17 and in a really tough situation, and I found myself stranded somewhere and I needed help, and I didn't know who to call. And I had only met him once or twice. I didn't know his last name. I only knew his first name. And something inside of me says I need to call him. He's the only person that even cares about me, that I'm even alive right now. I'll go in and call him, but I didn't know his last name. We didn't have cell phones back then. I had to go find a payphone. And when I went into the mall that I was at the time when I got stranded to call him, even though I didn't know his name or his phone number, he was standing right there. Had I not done that, my life could have turned out very different. And he never left my side after that because a lot of negative things had happened. But it was really interesting that something inside of me was making me go in and call somebody who I didn't know their last name or their phone number, and they just happened to be standing there. So we must have both been listening at that point and been at the right places at the right time. And synchronicities work that way. So they're just the divine purpose of the universe where nobody is void of help. We're just void of listening. So the more we can become in tune with ourselves, the more we can understand those synchronicities around us and take advantage of them when they're there. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we'll delve into how we can foster that part of ourselves so we can hear them better. So the first part of understanding synchronicities is to not live in a story. So we've talked about, I've had other videos and things that we talk about living in the story, because our story stops us from seeing what's really there. So a little example of that is I had an instance where I knew somebody who was struggling with getting care for a loved one. And we were at a walk for the illness, and I heard him talking to somebody who was signing petitions about getting more research done for that illness. And I heard him with his struggle about how he's tried this person, that person, nobody will listen to him. And he doesn't know what to do to help his son. He's really overwhelmed. So as I'm listening to it, I go, well, I know who will help. I have somebody who will help him. So I walked up to him and I said, so-and-so, I said, I just want to let you know, I heard what you were saying and I didn't realize you were in this situation. I know somebody who can help you. And he looked at me and he said, excuse me? I said, I know somebody who can help you. Do you want to send me an email with the information you have and I'll put them forward and you have them contact you and help you? He goes, I don't know who you could know. I just about tried everybody. You know where to find me. And I sat there stunned and amazed. And then when I asked to see what I needed to see, I realized what he knew of me, I couldn't possibly know anybody. And he thought it had to come through a certain channel for his information to come and his answer to come. And I was not that channel and I was not that answer. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time with 3 kids. Who would I know? And he had tried everybody. But he also came from an area where he was in business, he was in charge of a lot of people, he knew a lot of important people. So his story of what needed to happen stopped his help from coming forward. So his synchronicities stopped right there where it had been all set up that he was getting his answer. He wanted his answer so bad, there was a setup in the universe, but he shut the door immediately because it wasn't in the package he wanted to come into. And as I delved into it more, I realized the package was already sitting in his lap. It had been sitting there the whole time. It didn't have to come through me. He just couldn't see it because it still wasn't coming in the package he wanted it to come into. And it made me realize how much our beliefs and the way we look at life stop these synchronicities from happening. Synchronicities come in many packages as well as our answers do. And it's really hard for us to identify if we're not awake and aware. And they can come as simple as when you're asking to see what you need to see every day and you're driving down the road, all of a sudden you see a license plate. It could be on the side of a van. It could be, anything that you would not expect. I had a woman one time, she was struggling with her daughter's health. And she didn't know if her daughter was going to be okay. And she kept meditating on, is my daughter going to be okay? Is my daughter going to be okay? And then she picked one of those random cards like in a deck, like not a tarot deck, but an animal healing deck. And she got that a giraffe was her spirit animal. And she's like, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to ever see a giraffe? I live in New Hampshire. So she's just kind of not paying much attention to it. And she's got her daughter and she's at the bookstore and she's talking to her daughter. And she says, go off and find a book. It's okay. I'll be over here. And then her daughter comes back and she says, Mom, can I buy this book? And she goes, sure, what book is it? And it was a book with a giraffe on the cover. So she realized I was not alone and I have my answer. So synchronicities are everywhere where the daughter was listening and she was listening. She would put the energy out there and the daughter picked up on it and the daughter's energy gave her the answer. So synchronicities happen in many different ways. It's just a matter of we have to put ourselves out there to want to hear them and see where they're coming from. Other ways to get synchronicities could be in random conversations with people. All of a sudden you start talking to somebody and they're struggling with the same situation you have, but they found a solution. It could be that you end up at a workshop and then you weren't sure why you went, but something drew you there, and then you meet somebody and then all of a sudden you get a new job. It's just all these random events that happen because you're drawn to do something you wouldn't normally do. So synchronicities come from being more open and just listening and understanding that the universe works in many different ways. How do you become open to hearing them? You have to be more present in yourself. I mean, you can do some of my meditations. You can find ways to sit quiet with yourself and do someone else's meditations that help you understand that you're more than what you believe you are. I have a mantra that I like, You can use that as well. It's I'm quieting my mind, embracing my soul, and I'm open to all possibilities in my healing. The key to saying a mantra is to actually mean the words when you say them. It's not just going through the motions and saying it, because you can go through the motions and do anything and not generate enough energy to create an opening for anything to happen. So if you're doing the mantra, you say, I'm quieting my mind, you literally have a vision in your mind to see yourself closing doors and just quieting your space and seeing yourself in a nice, whether it's in your yard, whatever makes you feel peaceful. So you see that when you say, I'm quieting my mind. I'm embracing my soul, meaning you understand that you're more and you're part of the universe, and there's an infinite part of you that you're putting out to the universe, that you're embracing who you are, and that you are part of the universe, that you're more. And then I'm quieting my mind, embracing my soul. I'm open to all possibilities. So that's a tough one. That means you need to be open to whatever comes your way, because sometimes synchronicities aren't always positive. It could be something negative that happens to you that brings a light on something that you were struggling with, that solves all your problems. But when you look at it too negative, you're never going to see the positive in what comes out of it. So synchronicities are everywhere. There's no such thing as positive and negative in the universe. There's just experiences. It's our way that we interpret them that can shut down doors that are opening for us to see something else. And to be open to all possibilities is really hard, because you don't know what can happen. And you've got to be open to trusting the universe, and whatever is happening is for your highest good. So it's I'm quieting my mind, embracing my soul, and I'm open to all possibilities in my healing. And you can sit there and you can say it over and over again. You can use beads like mala beads, any type of prayer bead. You can just hold a stone. You can just, however you want to do it. The key to the mantra is you just have to mean it when you say it. Literally, you just have to mean it when you say it. And you can come up with your own mantra too, in a way to open yourself. You can use someone else's. You just have to be willing to go inward and be present and to get to know yourself, and stop letting society and all your beliefs dictate what can and can't happen. You can't get to the point where you're reading everything thinking it's a synchronicity either, because you're not being present. You just go about your day, and whatever happens, happens. And then you start getting these little nudges intuitively that might be it or not be it. Because I've seen people just take it and say, it's not happening, it's not happening. You're not supposed to look for it. There is no way you're going to find it, because it's just life playing out around you. And then you just have that epiphany that, oh, I should have realized that, or that's what I was looking for, or that makes sense. And it just kind of all happens. So synchronicities are kind of funny, because if you're looking for them, you're not going to find them. If you're not open, you're not going to hear them, but they're always there. It's just a matter of an opening for them to come through to facilitate whatever needs to happen. So open the door by having a daily practice that just helps you to be open to all possibilities, and asking to see what you need to see, because you don't know what you need next in your healing. And the synchronicities will open those doors and show you that maybe it is your nutrition, maybe it's your exercise, maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your job. You don't know. So be open and let them flow.